வணக்கம். My name is Raghavan Panchodi. I'll be your host tonight. Or this afternoon rather. It's my honor. This will be a wonderful discussion, and seeing the number of people that have joined is very encouraging. So we'll jump right into it. But before we get there, ஈழ விடுதலை போரில் தமது உயிரை ஈகம் செய்த தமிழ் மறவர்கள் நினைவாகவும்
Sorry, Raghavan, I think you got muted.
Yes, I got muted there. ஈழ விடுதலை போரில் தமது இன்னுயிரை ஈகம் செய்த தமிழ் மறவர்கள் நினைவாகவும் ஈழ நாட்டில் அல்லது இலங்கையில் வலியுறுத்தி காணாமலாக்கப்பட்டோர் நினைவாகவும் இன்றைய நாளில் உலகில் பல்வேறு பாகங்களிலும் போரினாலும் அரச தீவிரவாதத்தினாலும் அல்லலுறும் மக்கள் நினைவாகவும் ஒரு நிமிடம் மௌனம் சாதிப்போம். In memory of the men and women that made the ultimate sacrifice in the Elam War, and in memory of the people who were forcefully disappeared in Sri Lanka, and in memory of the men and women and children who are suffering because of war around the world and state terrorism. Let's remain silent for a moment. Nandri. This is looking wonderful. We have at least close to 80 people on this call right now, and the number seems to be growing. So a few housekeeping notes as we begin this conversation. First of all, thank you to Neethan Shan for championing this cause and having that dialogue with the larger community in terms of the Toronto-Jaffna partnership. As you may know, Toronto-Jaffna partnership came to be a few years ago when Councillor Shan was a councillor a couple of terms ago. And he is now reviving that efforts further and is looking for input from the general community. As we have this conversation, that this is going to be a dynamic conversation, we have a few presentations from folks who are involved in some work that is already happening in Jaffna. And then we will have an open forum where all of you can chime in with your questions, with your input, and at that point in time, we will open up the chat function as well so that you can provide your input there as well. This is all about, this conversation is a brainstorming session, so this is not a debate. Let's not get into conversations that could derail the purpose of this forum. And each person, when it comes time to open up for a community discussion, I will announce so. And at that point in time, I kindly request that each of you who have a point to make, keep it within a minute and a half, maybe 2 to 3 minutes max, just so everybody else has an opportunity to provide their feedback as well. We've got wonderful folks here, Abina and Chowmă, who are taking notes of the conversations, of the points that you're about to make. So all of this will come in handy as next steps happen. Again, this is a conversation about Jaffna Toronto partnership. So if you're talking about something that is happening elsewhere, let's limit that to, again, bring the focus back to the Jaffna Toronto partnership. Our conversation is going to be under three aspects, which would be, what are the current needs in Jaffna? What type of work needs to be done? And how can you, as an individual or an organization, help out? So that's the framework of the conversation today. So bear that in mind. I'll keep repeating it throughout the conversation. We'll kick it off with three presentations as case studies of work that is already being done and needs analysis that has already been done. And then that is just a starting point. And then we'll jump right into a conversation with all of the folks who are here, which is where we're going to get most of the information. And before we get to that, I want to introduce Neethan Shan, Councillor Shan, as I should say, Councillor Neethan Shan, who's been championing, who in fact was the brainchild was the brain behind this Toronto-Jaffna partnership under Mayor Tory's leadership, and he brought this to life, and now he's envisioning it and is looking for your support. So Neethan, if you wouldn't mind sharing a few words before we kick it off.
Thank you. Thank you, ராகவன். அனைவருக்கும் அன்பார்ந்த வணக்கம். முதல்ல இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி நேரிலே உங்களோடு ஸ்காப்ரோ சிவிக் சென்டரில் இடம்பெற இருந்தது. இன்றைய காலநிலை காரணமாக, உங்கள் அனைவரின் பாதுகாப்பு காரணமாகவும் நாங்கள் இந்த விடயத்தை நாங்கள் இப்பொழுது இணையதளத்தினூடாக மெய்நிகர் நிகழ்ச்சியாக கொண்டு வந்திருக்கின்றோம். இதற்கு காரணம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு காரணம் டொரண்டோ-ஜாஃப்னா பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் என்பதை மீள புதுப்பித்து அதை ஒரு வெற்றி திட்டமாக மாற்றுவதற்கு என்ன செய்ய வேண்டும் என்பதை ஆலோசிப்பதாகும். இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி 2 மொழிகளிலுமே செய்வோம். ஆகவே நீங்கள் பங்கு பெற்றுகின்ற பொழுது நீங்கள் ஆங்கிலத்தில் சரளமாக பேசக்கூடியவர் என்றால் ஆங்கிலத்திலும், அல்லது தமிழில் பேச விரும்புவார் என்றால் தமிழிலும் பேசிக்கொள்ளலாம். நகர முதல்வர், இந்த டொரண்டோ நகர முதல்வர் ஒலிவியா சவ் அவர்கள் இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியின் பாதியிலே இணைந்து கொள்வார். அவர் இணைந்து கொண்டு அவரது கருத்துக்களையும் நாங்கள் கேட்க இருக்கின்றோம். முதல்ல இந்த டொரண்டோ-ஜாஃப்னா பார்ட்னர்ஷிப்புக்கு போவதற்கு முதல் அனைவருக்கும் இனிய தைத்திருநாள், தைப்பொங்கல் மற்றும் தமிழ் மரபு திங்கள் வாழ்த்துக்களையும் கூறிக்கொண்டேன். புத்தாண்டு உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஆரோக்கியமான புத்தாண்டாகவும், உங்களுக்கு பொருளாதார வளர்ச்சி மட்டுமல்ல, சமூக மற்றும் உள்ள வளர்ச்சியை தரக்கூடிய, உடல் நலத்தை தரக்கூடிய ஒரு ஆண்டாக அமைய வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொண்டு, முக்கியமாக இப்பொழுது உங்களிடம் கூற வேண்டிய விடயம் என்னவென்று சொன்னால், இந்த திட்டத்தின் முக்கியத்துவம் என்ன என்று உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். 2017ஆம் ஆண்டு நானும் அப்பொழுது மேயராக இருந்த ஜான் டோரி அவர்களும் தாயகத்துக்கு சென்றிருந்தோம். தாயகத்துக்கு சென்றிருந்த பொழுது ஒரு நாள் அங்கு தாயகத்துக்கு செல்லக்கூடியதாக இருந்தது. அப்பொழுது சென்ற பொழுது முதலிலே முள்ளிவாய்க்காலுக்கு சென்று, முள்ளிவாய்க்காலிலே இன அழிப்பு இடம்பெற்ற அந்த நினைவு தூபி இருக்கின்ற அந்த இடத்திலே ஒரு மரியாதை செலுத்தி, அதற்கு பின்பு முல்லைத்தீவிலே ஒரு சந்திப்பை அங்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய மக்களோடு ஏற்படுத்தி கொண்டோம். அங்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய மக்களுக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய தேவைகள் என்ன மாதிரியான பிரச்சனைகளை முன்னோக்குகின்றார்கள், வேலை வாய்ப்பிலிருந்து பாதுகாப்பிலிருந்து காணிகள் அபகரிப்பு என்று பல்வேறு விதமான அச்சுறுத்தல்களை சந்தித்துக் கொண்டிருந்தார்கள். அவர்களை சந்தித்துவிட்டு முல்லைத்தீவிலிருந்து பின்பு காணாமல் ஆக்கப்பட்டவர்களின் பெற்றோர்களும் குடும்ப உறவினர்களும் தொடர்ச்சியான போராட்டத்தில் ஈடுபட்டு கொண்டிருந்தார். அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும். அவர்களது போராட்டத்திற்கு சென்று அவர்களையும் நானும் அப்பொழுது நகரப்பிதாவாக இருந்த ஜான் டோரி அவர்களும் சந்தித்து அவர்களோடு பேசிய பின்பு கெப்பப்புலவா என்ற பகுதியிலே அந்த காணிகள் அபகரித்து அதில் ஒரு போராட்டம் இடம்பெற்றுக் கொண்டிருந்தது. அதில் சுத்திவர இராணுவமயமாக்கப்பட்ட ஒரு பகுதியாக இருந்தது. அந்த பகுதியையும் பார்வையிட்டு பின்பு யாழ் நூலகத்துக்கு சென்று யாழ் நூலகத்தில் அப்பொழுது வடமாகாணத்தின் முதலமைச்சராக இருந்த மதிப்புக்குரிய விக்னேஸ்வரன் ஐயாவுடன் ஒரு டொரண்டோ-ஜஃப்னாக்குரிய ஒரு உறவை வலுப்படுத்தக்கூடிய ஒரு திட்டமாக அந்த புரிந்துணர்வு ஒப்பந்தம் சொல்லலாம், அதை நாங்கள் கையொப்பமிட்டு கைச்சாத்திட்டு இருக்கோம். இது இவ்வளவு ஒரு நாளுக்குள் செய்து விட்டு அடுத்த நாள் வந்து விட்டோம். இது உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், அந்த வேளையிலே இவையெல்லாம் செய்வதற்குரிய அனுமதிகள் இருக்கவில்லை இருந்தாலும் நாங்கள் போய் சென்று அந்த விடயங்களை செய்துவிட்டு, அதாவது டொரண்டோ-ஜஃப்னா பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் செய்வது தெரியும், மற்ற இடங்களுக்கு சென்றதெல்லாம் சென்று அதை பாதுகாப்பு காரணம் கூறப்பட்டது இந்த இடங்களுக்கு செல்ல வேண்டாம் என்று. இருந்தாலும் அப்பொழுது நாங்கள் அந்த இடங்களுக்கு சென்று இந்த விடயங்களை நேரடியாக பார்த்த பின்பு ஜோன் டோரி அவர்கள் வந்த பொழுது ஒரு அதை பற்றி ஒரு ஒரு எடிட்டோரியல், அதாவது ஆசிரியர் கடிதம் ஒன்று பிரசுரித்திருந்தார் அவரது அனுபவத்தை. அது உண்மையிலே முக்கியமான ஒன்றாக இருந்தது. So just to let folks know, this is a continuation of what we started in 2017 as the mayor, then Mayor Tory and myself went to Tamilam homeland and particularly visited Mulivaikal and paid respect through lighting the lamp in the memorial site, and then met with people in Mullaitivu, hearing from their concern, and then went on to meet with family members of the forcefully disappeared people that were protesting there, and had conversations with them, and also observed the Kapapalava protest where people were protesting to get their land back from military occupation. And then finally ended up in Jaffna Library to sign an MOU with the Chief Minister at that time, with Honorable C.V. Vigneshwaran, to have a collaboration agreement between Toronto and Jaffna. So after we came back, we had announced that to the Canadian diaspora and said we'll have a series of meetings with the Canadian diaspora. We had 2 large meetings where a lot of organizations participated. And from that, and from discussions with Jaffna, we came up with 4 pillars to that conversation based on what the Chief Minister at that time identified, and also the diaspora, what the diaspora thought was important at that time. So this is in 2017, 2018, so many years back. So we identified economic development as one of the key pillars. We identified education as the next pillar. We identified library, as you know, library services in Toronto is pretty prominently known, public library system, one of the best in the world. And then finally, governance related, as a community rebuilding after a war, that the support for establishing structures of governance and policies and procedures around governance was a critical need, and the capacity needed to be built together as well. So those 4 areas were identified. அந்த 4 விடயங்களும் அந்த புரிந்துணர்வு ஒப்பந்தத்தில் இருந்தது. ஒன்று கல்வி, பொருளாதார வளர்ச்சி, நூலகம் மற்றும் எவ்வாறு அந்த நிர்வாகிப்பது என்பது சம்பந்தமாக தலைமைத்துவ வடிவத்திலே, அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டிவ் என்ற வகையில, கவர்னன்ஸ் என்ற வகையிலே அது அந்த விடயங்களை முன்னெடுத்து நாங்கள் எல்லாம் 2018ஆம் ஆண்டுக்குள் நிறைய திட்டங்களை முன்வைப்பதற்கு தயாரான நிலையிலே, உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், டொரண்டோ நகரசபையிலே 44 நகரசபை உறுப்பினர்கள் 25ஆக குறைக்கப்பட்டு போட்டிகள் மாற்றப்பட்ட பொழுது என்னால் மீண்டும் நகரசபைக்கு செல்ல முடியவில்லை. ஆனால் அந்த திட்டத்தை ஓரளவுக்கு தொடர்ச்சியாக வைத்திருந்தார்கள். அந்த திட்டம் பெரிய அளவிலே முன்னோக்கி போக முடியவில்லை என்பதுதான் உண்மை. அவை இந்த வேளையிலே அந்த 7 வருடங்கள் கடந்து மீண்டும் நகரசபை உறுப்பினராக அங்கு வந்திருக்கின்ற பொழுது அந்த திட்டம் ஒரு மிகவும் ஒரு நம்பிக்கையை எல்லோருக்கும் கொடுத்த ஒரு விடயம் முழுமையடையவில்லை என்ற ஒரு ஆதங்கம் எங்களுக்கு இருக்கின்றது. அந்த வகையிலே இதை மீள இப்பொழுது இருக்கக்கூடிய நகரசபை முதல்வரோடு பேசி மீள தொடங்கி அதை ஏதாவது வகையிலே முன்கொண்டு வருவதற்கு முயற்சிக்கின்றோம். இந்த திட்டம் அங்கு அதிகம் வேகமாக செல்லாததுக்கு இன்னொரு காரணமாக அமைந்தது அங்கே இருக்கக்கூடிய மாற்றங்கள். அப்பொழுது நகரசபை முதல்வராக இருந்தவர்கள் 3 தடவை மாற்றம் அடைந்தார்கள். அங்கு மாகாண அரசாங்கம் இல்லாமல் ஆக்கப்பட்டது. மாகாண அரசுக்கான தேர்தல் நடத்தப்படவில்லை. அவை இங்கு டொரண்டோவில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அரசியல் பிரமுகர்களுக்கு அங்கிருப்பவர்களோடு பேசுவதற்கு, தொடர்பு கொடுப்பதற்கும் கடினமாக இருந்தது. So in addition to the change in council, as I was not able to be back when the council got reduced from 44 to 25, there was also changes back in Jaffna. The mayors have changed a few times in Jaffna, as well as the provincial government did not continue, and there were no elections for that as well. So the city of Toronto had difficulty trying to have that political leadership liaison together. So having said all this, now we want to start this with a fresh look with two parts. One, we want to continue to build the elected official relationship to the leadership there, so government to government relationship. But we also want to expand this into a civic partnership as well, because we feel expanding it to a civic partnership will actually give it a more stability despite changes that might happen politically. So basically, Toronto's Tamil community, along with their neighbors from all different communities, will be working with Jaffna's Tamil community, along with their neighbors in Jaffna, to kind of work together to look at needs, look at solutions, and so on. And we want the government of both sides to play a supportive role to help to facilitate and be a catalyst, be an incubator, be a connector, whatever may be the case. But I think this is the shift that we want to make sure, because this way it doesn't completely rely on the elected leadership of, though I'm elected and I'm trying to run this, though it doesn't rely on elected leadership being here, it actually becomes a community-based collaboration, so we can actually do this at a level we need to. So அந்த காரணத்துக்காக தான் நாங்கள் இன்றைக்கு கூடியிருக்கிறோம். இதை அரசியல் ரீதியாக அரசியல் தலைமைத்துவங்கள் தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்டவர்கள் மட்டுமல்லாமல் ஒரு மக்கள் மயப்படுத்தப்பட்ட சமூக திட்டமாக டொரண்டோவில் இருக்கக்கூடிய தமிழ் சமூகம், அவர்களது வேற்றின சமூகங்களோடு சேர்ந்து யாழ்ப்பாணத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய சமூகத்தோடு இணைந்து செயல்படுகின்ற ஒரு வடிவத்தை கொண்டு வருவதற்கான முயற்சியாக இதை பார்க்கின்றோம். So I have talked enough because I want to hear from the speakers as well, and then we also want to hear from you. So you will have an opportunity to speak at that time. So I'll pass it back to Raghav, and just wanted to give a context so we know why we are gathered together and why this is being discussed. And we wanted to start this back in Tamil Heritage Month so that we can actually, this month gives us a lot of energy, so galvanize that energy to move forward. Thank you, Raghav.
Thank you, Neethan. I think excellent overview of what the agenda is for the day, what the intent and purpose of the meeting is. As I mentioned earlier, during these presentations that are going to happen over the next few minutes, we're not taking questions because these are case studies that our presenters are going to share. After those case studies are presented, we will open up the forum or open it up to the floor for a conversation, and we'll take questions, we'll respond to questions, we'll take your feedback and make it all worthwhile. But over the next little while, we have three presenters, two that have joined us online, and one from Sri Lanka who's sent us a video. So I'll introduce each of them as we go. And like Neethan said, it's about how can the Toronto Tamil community do work and make life better in the Jaffna Tamil community, and it could be both ways, right? There probably is something that we can learn from how the Jaffna Tamil community is working. It might sound a little strange, especially for the older generation. Well, I'm getting there, but to think, oh, you think there is a Toronto Tamil community that's outside of our own community? There is. We've had several generations popping up here in Toronto. We're a distinct community now at some point in as time goes by. So there's an opportunity to make that bridge and make it work for both Tamil communities. With that said, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Vidhu Ramachandran. He's the Vice President of International Affairs, or Internal Affairs rather, of the Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce, popularly known as CTCC, a nationally recognized diaspora business institution and the collective voice of Tamil businesses across Canada. He's also the managing lawyer and founder of Ramachandran Law Professional Corporation, a Toronto-based multidisciplinary firm serving individuals and businesses in immigration, civil litigation, family law, corporate and commercial law, real estate, and Wilson Estates. He's also the founder of Harmony Family Professional Corporation, a boutique firm dedicated to family law. Vidhu's work sits in the intersection of law, governance, and economic development. Through his leadership at the CTCC, he supports institutional governance, entrepreneurship, and sustainable economic partnerships between Canada and Sri Lanka, particularly in the northern and eastern regions. Vidhu holds a Juris Doctor from Hofstra University School of Law, specializing in international law and graduating at the top of his class in international human rights law, and has a Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing from York University. Yeah, Vidhu is a fun guy to be around, and Vidhu probably has lots of stories to tell. Vidhu is going to be talking about economic development or the angle that he has chosen in terms of his work. Over to you, Vidhu.
Thank you, Raghavan, for that wonderful but long intro. Just going to wait for the slides to show up, and then I will get started. Perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you to the City of Toronto, Councillor Neethan Shan, and his entire team for convening this forum as part of Tamil Heritage Month. My name is Vidhu Ramachandran. I'm here on behalf of the Canadian Tamils Chamber of Commerce, known as CTCC. Economic development is one of the 4 pillars of the Toronto-Jaffna partnership, as Neethan had alluded to. And today I'd like to address 2 things with respect to economic development. First, what is the need, or what are the needs in Sri Lanka, particularly in the north, based on our experience? And second, the role that cities, civil society, and diaspora institutions can play together in supporting sustainable economic development. We'll just go to the next slide. So the Chamber is incorporated in 91, and this is our 35th year of service. We represent over 1,000 different, over those years, we've represented over thousands of members across diverse industries, and we serve as a bridge between Canadian and global Tamil business interests. We are a nationally recognized diaspora not-for-profit institution and the collective voice of the business community in Canada, and we currently operate in both Ontario and Quebec. The longevity of our organization and reach has allowed us to engage not just as a community organization, but as a credible economic partner. An example of that is when a former Mayor John Tory and Councillor Shan went to Sri Lanka and to the north and east and did their visits. When they came back, the Chamber actually entered into a MOU with the City of Jaffna and the City of Toronto to engage in programming, but due to political changes, both, especially in Sri Lanka and later here, some of the programming got disturbed, and we're here to reboot that program. Next slide. Okay, why economic development matters? Economic development matters because the challenges facing Sri Lanka, particularly in post-conflict regions like the North and the East, are structural. They're not temporary. A simple fence can't fix these problems. These regions continue to experience long-standing underinvestment, which has been compounded by Sri Lanka's recent national economic crisis. And this has caused a significant human capital loss, as high youth unemployment is driving continued outward migration. As you would see from what happened in our community in the last 3 years, especially in Toronto, there has been a lot of people who have escaped Sri Lanka, not because of the war like in the 80s and early 90s or mid 90s, but due to economic hardship. And we see a lot of them who were here either on visitor visas and then either going the asylum route or are basically stuck in Canada in a stateless position. At its core, economic development is not just about growth. It underpins stability, dignity, and long-term resilience. Without viable economic pathways for the citizens in the North, it becomes very difficult to sustain progress in any other area. Next slide. So as the chamber has been working, specifically since 2018 post and engaging with the diaspora out in the north, we've tried different approaches, and the approach that works the best, based on our experience, is our current ecosystem-based approach to growth. When initiatives are done program by program, they're a short-term band-aid, but then it does not fix structural problems. Our current approach in Jaffna brings together global institutions, local delivery partners, and diaspora business networks. For example, on the institutional side, we work with Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly Ryerson, their incubator program specifically named DMZ, and we work with the World University Service of Canada. And Chamber was selected as a delivery partner for teaching women-led or women-founded businesses in Jaffna and how to get to market, how to build out your business, and how to not only service your wares or products locally, but also how to position yourself to go global. The broader entrepreneurship ecosystem is inclusive of all genders. While this one program is specifically focused on female entrepreneurs, we have programs that are gender neutral and for all ages. Locally in Jaffna, we partner with a charity called Aravana to deliver some of the programming. And Jarl IT Hub in Jaffna, who is our local incubator partner, where they have access to resources, where we do programming, we do teaching, and we actually do resource and we provide funding as well. And this ensures that when programming is delivered, it's current, it's trusted, and it's sustainable. Because when we do programming, we want it to be repeatable and we want it to be scalable. The Chamber's role is to enable knowledge exchange, founder and mentor engagement, and critically access to markets through diaspora and national networks. This combination turns local entrepreneurship into scalable economic opportunity. Next slide. Why this model works. It's all about sustainable impact. We measure success based on impact, but it has to be not a one shot. It must be repeatable. This model works because it moves beyond isolated funding. We're not here to give money to a school to paint their walls. We're not here interested in building or providing it for one-off dinners or galas. We pair our capital with skills development and mentorship to support long-term viability. Local institutions, for example, like Jarl IT Hub or Aravana, ensure cultural relevance that we're able to deliver to the locals in the tone and in the manner that the locals will require it, with the trust of the community there and through continuity. We feel diaspora networks help reduce risk and open doors that otherwise would be difficult to access locally. And we provide market access, which allows current entrepreneurs in Jaffna and in the East to grow beyond local constraints, to grow beyond local political constraints as we're able to move and open opportunities for them. The outcome is that entrepreneurs become local innovators, employers, and anchors of regional economic resilience. And this goes back to how we're going to keep the locals in Jaffna. There must be economic development and positive economic development if we do not want to see mass migration out of the north. Next slide. So this is how we see the City of Toronto, civil society and diaspora playing its role. Cities like Toronto, especially Toronto, due to its size and global reach, bring convening power, the ability to share systems and administrative knowledge, and the credibility that comes from formal partnerships with such a city. civil society and diaspora institutions being grounded, being on the ground, community-led, along with the access to capital, mentorship, and market pathways, gives it a unique advantage for the North for their long-term growth. This is not about exporting our solutions into their local markets. It's about co-creating pathways that are locally grounded but globally connected. And that is the strength of our diaspora from the 30 or 40-year migration that we've had. Next slide. Looking ahead, what do we want? We want scaling impact. Success could mean deeper knowledge exchange between Toronto and Jaffna, stronger pathways for women-led enterprises to reach Canadian and global markets, and viable futures for youth within our own communities. It also means building scalable, repeatable models for inclusive and sustainable economic growth. When cities, civil society, and diaspora business networks work together, economic development becomes both sustainable and scalable. Thank you.
Wonderful presentation there, Vidhu. Lots to take in. I was busy taking notes as you were speaking, but economic challenges in Sri Lanka are structural, is one that struck to me. We're beginning to see a lot of migration to Canada in precarious conditions, all because of the economic challenges in Sri Lanka. It's another point that stuck to me. And the wonderful work that CTCC under your purview is doing in terms of ecosystem-based approach to growth, focused on scalable economic opportunity, is another point that I got out of it. And then you certainly pointed out that diaspora organizations can open local opportunities and prevent mass migration out of Jaffna or even the Northeast for that matter, which all is beneficial for the Ulam Tamil community, and you are drawing on the expertise and the strength the diaspora organizations have in terms of having already built a business of some sort to go in and support our brethren back home. Co-creating pathways that are locally grounded and externally supported is basically your mantra for today's speech, if I may call it that. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in thinking that. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I will now, again, like I said earlier on, folks, there's no question and answer situation at this moment. Our presenters today are presenting their learnings from the work that they are doing and they have done and they continue to do. And the point and purpose of the forum is for an open discussion and to learn from each of you what we can do in terms of the needs analysis in Jaffna and how we folks in Toronto can action them and what we can all do individually or through our organizations to make that work. And once again, thank you to Neethan for his leadership in bringing this conversation forward. Our next presenter will come through video. It's a recorded video. Mr. Ratnasingham Sarveshwara is an alumnus of Arunodaya College and Jaffna Hindu College. He graduated with a first-class special degree, probably at that time, BSc in Education from the University of Jaffna, he ranked first in his batch. He has served as a biology teacher, and a demonstrator in chemistry at the University of Jaffna, assistant registrar at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Jaffna, and later as senior assistant registrar in charge of examinations at UVA Velasa. I may be saying that wrong. UVA Velasa is what I'm going to say. University. He holds a postgraduate diploma in public administration from the University of Sri Jayawardenepura, a master's degree in education from the University of Jaffna, and has completed a Bachelor of Arts program at the University of Sri Lanka. In 2018, he was appointed as a lecturer in the Department of Education at the University of Jaffna, and later received an Australian government scholarship to pursue postgraduate studies in educational psychology at the University of Sydney. His presence here is relevant because he contributes to the public discourse on education and social issues through media and serves as a general secretary to the Jaffna Tamil Association, leading several educational, social, and scholarly initiatives. Mr. Ratnasingham Sarveswara has sent us a video recording of his remarks on the work that is taking place in the education sector. Let's cue the video, Abhina. Abhina, I doubt if we're getting audio on that. Yeah.
When you're sharing the screen, it will ask for an audio, click to include the audio. Try that. No, not yet, Abhina.
These are all practical challenges of having us all stay at home and still participate in a extremely important forum. But our team is super capable of figuring this out. So we'll get it out in a minute. Thank you for your patience.
No.
If it's helpful,
you might have to unmute yourself too, Abhina.
அருமையான இந்த பொழுதில் உங்களை சந்திப்பதில் அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். நான் யாழ்ப்பாண பல்கலைக்கழக கல்வியியல் துறையினுடைய விரிவுரையாளர் ரத்னசிங்கம் சர்வேஸ்வரா. அருமையான இந்த பொழுதில் உங்களை சந்திப்பதில் எனக்கு மிக்க மகிழ்ச்சி. குறிப்பாக கனடா வாழ் எங்களுடைய உறவுகளையும் யாழ்ப்பாணத்தினுடைய நிலைமைகள் தொடர்பாக, குறிப்பாக கல்வி நிலைமைகள் தொடர்பாக பேசுவதற்கு கிடைத்த வாய்ப்பு மிக முக்கியமானது. சில ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னர் எனக்கு நன்றாக ஞாபகம் இருக்கின்றது. வடக்கு மாகாண சபையில் மக்களால் தெரிவு செய்யப்பட்ட ஒரு நிர்வாக அலகு நடைமுறையில் இருந்த பொழுது கனடாவினுடைய டொரண்டோ அந்த நகரத்தினுடைய நகர சபைக்கும் யாழ்ப்பாண மாநகர சபைக்கும் இடையில் ஒரு ஒப்பந்தம் செய்யப்பட்டு 2 நகரங்களையும் ஒன்றிணைத்து அபிவிருத்தி திட்டங்களை மேற்கொள்வதாக சில முயற்சிகள் முன்னெடுக்கப்பட்ட பொழுதும் பின்னர் அது பல்வேறு காரணங்களின் நிமித்தம் கிடப்பில் போடப்பட்டது. இப்பொழுது மீண்டும் அதற்கான முனைப்புகள் ஆரம்பித்திருப்பதை நாங்கள் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகின்றோம். அந்த திட்டத்தினுடைய ஒரு முக்கிய தூணாக இருக்கக்கூடிய கல்வி தொடர்பாக உங்களோட சில சிந்தனை கிளர்களை விளைப்பதற்கு கிடைத்திருக்கக்கூடிய இந்த சந்தர்ப்பம் மிக முக்கியமானது. யாழ்ப்பாணம், குறிப்பாக வடக்கு மாகாணம், உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், யாழ்ப்பாணம் என்று குறிக்கின்ற பொழுதே அது இலங்கையினுடைய வடக்கு மாகாணத்தை பொதுவாக குறிப்பதாகவே நாங்கள் கருதுவதுண்டு. அதனுடைய கல்வியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய முக்கியமான பிரச்சனைகள் சிலவற்றை அடையாளப்படுத்துவது என்னுடைய இந்த கலந்துரையாடலுடைய அல்லது உங்களை சந்திப்பதனுடைய நோக்கமாக இருக்கும். குறிப்பாக யாழ்ப்பாணம் என்பது இன்றைக்கு போருக்கு பின்னாக மீண்டெழுந்து வருகின்ற ஒரு சமூக கட்டமைப்பை கொண்ட ஒரு பிரதேசமாகும். இந்த பிரதேசத்தில் இப்பொழுது எதிர்கொள்ளப்படுகின்ற கல்வி பிரச்சனைகளுக்குள் முதன்மையானதாக கருதப்படுகின்ற ஓரிரண்டு பிரச்சனைகளை உங்களுக்கு கவனத்துக்கு கொண்டு வர விரும்புகின்றேன். 2010 ஆண்டு இலங்கையினுடைய உள்நாட்டு யுத்தம் நிறைவு பெற்றதன் பின்னர் இலங்கையினுடைய கல்வி பாரம்பரியம் அல்லது கல்வியினுடைய போக்கு குறித்து அதீதமான கவனம் செலுத்தப்பட்டது. இந்த காலப்பகுதியில் நாங்கள் இன்றைக்கு 15 வருடங்களை கடந்து வந்திருக்கின்றோம். இந்த சூழ்நிலையில் வடக்கு மாகாணத்தினுடைய கல்வியினுடைய தாக்கம் அல்லது கல்வியினுடைய முன்னேற்றங்கள் குறித்து அதீத கரிசனை கொள்ளப்படுகிறது. தேசிய ரீதியாக நடத்தப்படுகின்ற பொது பரீட்சைகளில் எங்களுடைய மாணவர்களுடைய அடைவுகளை வைத்துக் கொண்டு வடக்கு மாகாணத்தினுடையதும் யாழ்ப்பாணத்தினுடையதும் கல்வி நிலைகள் மதிப்பிடப்படுகின்றன. அந்த அடிப்படையில் காப்போத சாதாரண தரம் என்று சொல்லப்படுகின்ற ஜிசிசி ஆர்டினரி லெவல் அந்த பரீட்சையில் நமது மாவட்டம் அல்லது மாகாணம் தொடர்ச்சியாக ஒரு பின்னடைவான நிலையில் இருப்பதை பலரையும் வேதனைக்குள்ளாக்கி இருக்கிறது, கவலைக்குள்ளாக்கி இருக்கிறது. இந்த விடயங்கள் தொடர்பாக ஆழ்ந்த கரிசனையோடு எல்லோரும் செயல்படுகின்றார்கள். இதற்கு பல காரணங்கள் இருக்கின்றன. குறிப்பாக இந்த மாகாண மட்ட நிலையில் இலங்கையினுடைய 9 மாகாணங்களில் நாம் தொடர்ச்சியாக வடக்கு மாகாணம் 9வது நிலையில் இருப்பது ஏன் என்கின்ற கேள்வி எல்லோருக்கும் இருக்கின்றது. அதற்கு பின்னால் நாங்கள் அடையாளப்படுத்தப்பட்ட சில காரணிகளை முன்வைக்கின்றோம். ஒன்று, எங்களுடைய பிள்ளைகளுடைய சமூக பொருளாதார காரணிகள் மிக பின்னடைவாக இருக்கின்றன, போர்னாலே பாதிக்கப்பட்ட சமூகம் என்கின்ற அடிப்படையில். அதனை தாண்டி குறிப்பாக எங்களுடைய பிள்ளைகளுடைய எழுத்தறிவு திறன் மற்றும் லாங்குவேஜ், அதாவது மொழி சார்ந்த ஆற்றல்களில் அவர்கள் பின்னடைவாக இருப்பதாக ஆய்வுகள் குறிப்பிடுகின்றன. குறிப்பாக உலக வங்கி அண்மையில் நடத்தியிருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த ஆய்வில் கூட அந்த விடயங்கள் சுட்டிக்காட்டப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. வடக்கு மாகாணத்திலே இந்த கல்வி பின்னடைவான அல்லது கற்றலில் பின்னடைவான பிள்ளைகளை நாங்கள் எடுத்து ஆராய்கின்ற பொழுது அநேகமான பிள்ளைகள் மத்தியில் வாசிப்பு திறனில் அவர்கள் மிகவும் பலவீனமானவர்களாக இருக்கின்றார்கள். எழுத்து துறையினுடைய கிரகித்தல் திறன் மற்றும் எழுதுகின்ற திறன்களிலே அவர்கள் பலவீனமாக இருக்கின்ற இந்த காரணங்களினால் அவர்கள் பொது பரீட்சைகளில் பின்னடைவான நிலைகளை எதிர்கொள்கின்றார்கள். இவற்றை மாற்றியமைப்பதற்கான பல்வேறு முயற்சிகளில் நம்முடைய அரசு அதிகாரிகளும் கல்வி சார்ந்த சமூகத்தினரும் தொடர்ச்சியாக ஈடுபட்ட வண்ணம் இருக்கின்றார்கள் என்பது ஒரு மிக முக்கியமானது. எனவே நாம் இந்த கனடா யாழ்ப்பாண திட்டத்தினுடைய ஒரு அங்கமாக இவ்வாறான எழுத்தறிவு மட்டத்தில் மிக குறைவான மட்டத்திலே திறன்களை கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய பிள்ளைகளை அல்லது பின்னடைவான பிள்ளைகளை அடையாளம் கண்டு அவர்களுடைய எழுத்து அறிவு திறன்களை மேல்நோக்கி கொண்டு செல்வது தொடர்பாக நாங்கள் திட்டங்களை வகுக்க வேண்டியதாக இருக்கிறது. இரண்டாவது பிரச்சனை, நம்முடைய பிள்ளைகளுடைய வாசிப்பு திறன், ரீடிங் ஸ்கில்ஸ், அது குறைவடைந்து வருவதாக பல ஆய்வுகள் சுட்டிக்காட்டியிருக்கிறது. அது குறிப்பாக 2 விடயமாக வாசிப்பு திறன்களை பார்க்க முடியும். ஒன்று, பிள்ளைகள் வாசிப்பதற்கான ஆற்றலையும் இயலுமையையும் கொண்டிருப்பது ஒரு முதலாவது விடயம். இரண்டாவது, வாசிப்பின் மீதான நாட்டத்தையும் ஆர்வத்தையும் கொண்டிருப்பது. முதலாவது விடயம், வாசிப்பு திறனில் அவர்கள் பலவீனமடைந்திருப்பதுதான் பரீட்சை பெறுபவர்கள் அவர்களை பின்னடைவானதாகவும் கல்வி அடைவுகளில் பின்னடைவானதாகவும் மாற்றி இருக்கிறது. எனவே வாசிப்பு திறன்களிலும் நாங்கள் அதீதமான கவனம் கொடுக்க வேண்டியவர்களாக இருக்கின்றோம். அதேவேளை ஓரளவுக்கு ஆற்றல் மிக்க பிள்ளைகளுக்கு வாசிப்பு பழக்கத்தை, அதாவது வாசிப்பதற்கான பழக்கத்தை உருவாக்குவதற்கான விடயங்களிலும் நாங்கள் கவனம் செலுத்த வேண்டியவர்களாக இருக்கின்றோம். அடுத்த மிக முக்கியமான பிரச்சனை, எங்களை பொறுத்தவரையில் வடக்கு மாகாணத்தில் அல்லது யாழ்ப்பாண பிராந்தியங்களை பொறுத்தவரையில் மாணவர்களுடைய இடைவிலகல் என்பதும் ஓரளவுக்கு சவாலுக்குரியதாக இருக்கின்றது. அநேகமான மாணவர்கள் கற்றல் நாட்டமின்மை காரணமாக குறிப்பிட்ட பிரதேசங்களைச் சேர்ந்த பிள்ளைகள் பாடசாலைகளிலிருந்து இடைவிலகுகின்ற சந்தர்ப்பங்கள் இருக்கின்றன. இந்த இடைவிலகுகின்ற சந்தர்ப்பங்களை நம்முடைய அதிகாரிகள் மிக நுட்பமாக கையாண்டு தங்களுடைய பகிரத முயற்சியின் காரணமாக பிள்ளைகளை மீண்டும் மீண்டும் பாடசாலைகளில் இணைத்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். இருந்த பொழுதும் இந்த பிள்ளைகளுடைய தொடர்ச்சியற்ற தன்மை, பாடசாலைக்கான தொடர்ச்சியற்ற தன்மை என்பது அவர்களுக்கான கல்வி மீதான நாட்டத்தை குறைவடைய செய்து அது மிக மோசமான கல்வி பின்னடைவாக மாறுகின்றது. அது ஒட்டுமொத்தமாக நம்முடைய மாகாணத்தினுடைய கல்வி பின்னடைவாக அது பிரதிபலிக்கின்றது. இடைவிலகல் நம்முடைய அடுத்த பிரச்சனையாக இருக்கிறது. அதனை தாண்டி இன்று அடுத்த மிக முக்கியமான பிரச்சனையாக நம்முடைய பாடசாலைகள் மூடப்படுகின்ற அபாய சூழ்நிலையை எதிர்கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. குறிப்பாக வடக்கு மாகாணத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய 40 வீதத்துக்கு அண்மித்த பாடசாலைகளில் மாணவர்களுடைய எண்ணிக்கை 100லும் குறைவாக இருக்கின்றது. நகரங்களை அண்டியிருக்கக்கூடிய மிக முக்கியமான பாடசாலைகளில் கூட மாணவர்களுடைய எண்ணிக்கை இப்பொழுது வீழ்ச்சியடைந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. அதனாலே மிக பாரம்பரிய பின்னணிகளை கொண்ட பல பாடசாலைகள் மூடப்பட்டிருக்கின்றன அல்லது எதிர்வரும் ஆண்டுகளில் மூடப்படும் அபாயங்களை எதிர்கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. அதேவேளை சமாந்தரமாக சில பாடசாலைகள் மாணவர்களுடைய எண்ணிக்கையில் வீக்கமுற்றிருக்கின்றன. குறிப்பாக 40-45 மாணவர்களை ஒரு வகுப்பறையில் கொண்ட பாடசாலைகளாக நகரத்தை, யாழ்ப்பாண நகரத்தை மையப்படுத்திய பாடசாலைகள் விளங்கிக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. இதனால் பாடசாலைகளுடைய பௌதிக வளங்களை நாங்கள் இன்னும் வினைத்திறனாக அதிகரிக்க முடியாது, தவிர்க்க முடியாதது. பாடசாலைகளை நோக்கி மாணவர்கள் முன்னோக்கி வருவதும் அந்த பாடசாலை நோக்கி கவரப்படுவதும் மிக முக்கியமானது. எனவே குறித்த பாடசாலைகளுடைய பௌதிக வள பயன்பாடு என்பது அங்கே இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒட்டுமொத்த மாணவர்களுடைய தேவைகளையும் பூர்த்தி செய்யக்கூடியதாக இல்லை என்பதும் மிக முக்கியமானது. எனவே இந்த டொரண்டோ மற்றும் யாழ்ப்பாணம் இந்த இணைப்பு திட்டத்தின் மூலமாக யாழ்ப்பாண நகரத்தை மையப்படுத்தி இருக்கின்ற பொழுது குறிப்பாக அதிக எண்ணிக்கை கொண்ட பாடசாலை மாணவர்களை கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய பாடசாலைகளுடைய பௌதிக வளங்களை எவ்வாறு நாங்கள் அடுத்த கட்டத்திற்கு வினைத்திறனாக முன்னேற்றகரமாக கொண்டு செல்ல முடியும் என்பது தொடர்பாக சிந்திக்க வேண்டியவர்களாக இருக்கின்றோம். குறிப்பாக விளையாட்டு மைதான பயன்பாடு, வகுப்பறையினுடைய கவிநிலையினுடைய பயன்பாடு, ஆய்வுகூட பயன்பாடுகள், அதை தாண்டி உள்ளக மற்றும் வெளியக விளையாட்டுகளுக்கான வசதிகள், கவின்கலை பயில்வுக்கான ஏற்பாட்டு வசதிகள் என பல கட்டங்களிலே இந்த விடயங்கள் தொடர்பாக நாங்கள் சிந்திக்க வேண்டியிருக்கின்றது. எனவே வடக்கு மாகாணத்தினுடைய கல்வி, குறிப்பாக யாழ்ப்பாண மாவட்டத்தை மையப்படுத்திய கல்வியில் நாங்கள் சிந்திக்க வேண்டிய பரப்புகளில் பின்னடைவான பிள்ளைகளுடைய எழுத்தறிவு திறனை முன்னோக்கி நகர்த்துவது, வாசிப்பு திறனை முன்னோக்கி நகர்த்துவது, இடைவிலகலை ஓரளவுக்கு இயன்ற அளவுக்கு கட்டுப்பாட்டுகளை கொண்டு வந்து இடைவிலகி செல்கின்ற பிள்ளைகளுக்கும் கற்றல் மீதான ஆர்வத்தை ஏற்படுத்துவது, மூடப்படுகின்ற அபாயங்களை எதிர்நோக்கி இருக்கக்கூடிய பாடசாலைகளை அடையாளப்படுத்தி அவற்றை மாற்று சிந்தனைகளோடு அவற்றை நாங்கள் பயன்படுத்துவது, அதேவேளை வீக்கமுற்று அதிக எண்ணிக்கையான மாணவர்களை கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய பாடசாலைகளுடைய வளங்களை நாங்கள் அதிகரிப்பது தொடர்பாக சிந்திக்க வேண்டியிருக்கிறது. இவ்வாறான விடயங்களை நாங்கள் கவனத்தை செலுத்துகின்ற பொழுது நாம் வடக்கு மாகாணத்தினுடைய கல்வியை முன்னோக்கி கொண்டு நகர்த்த முடியும். இன்னும் பல விடயங்கள் இந்த விடயங்களில் ஆழமாக பேச வேண்டும். இது மேலோட்டமாக ஒரு மிக முக்கியமாக தீர்வு காணப்பட வேண்டிய விடயங்களை உங்களுடைய கவனத்துக்கு கொண்டு வந்திருக்கின்றேன். இன்னும் ஆழமாக சிந்திப்பதற்கு பல விடயங்கள் இருக்கிறது. தொடர்ந்து பேசலாம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
திரு சர்வேஸ்வர இந்த அழைப்பில் இல்லாத போதிலும் அருமையான பல விடயங்களை புள்ளி விவரமாக வழங்கியிருக்கின்றார். I'll try to capture or regurgitate what I captured. He said there was a new focus on education in Jaffna and particularly in the Northern East post-war in terms of an interest, not particularly support from government or anything of that nature, but in terms of interest from international community or even within the local community. Jaffna, of the 9 provinces, is at the bare bottom when it comes to some seriously required skills, especially reading and writing. And the challenge, this particular result also came from some external review of what is happening in Sri Lanka, or particularly in Jaffna, and possibly the Northern East as well. How can we make writing skills better for the kids in Jaffna through the Jaffna-Toronto partnership was a question that he raised. How can we create or how can we make reading interesting to kids? How can we bring that aspect back into their lives? And school dropping out of school seems to be increasing, as he said, in several parts of Jaffna, and that is also possibly adding to the stats in general about the northern province when it comes to scores and stats about kids' education there. He also points out that while dropouts are happening in several parts of Jaffna, there's also an inflated number of students joining schools that are generally considered to be good or considered to produce good results, which also brings about another problem, which is how can we ensure these inflated number of students have access to facilities in the school because the schools remain the same. They are physically the same, but additional number of students are coming in there. I believe he mentioned 40 to 45 students per classroom. And those are challenges that he identified as that need attention and possible support from this Jaffna Toronto partnership. I thank Mr. Sarveswara for his contribution to this panel and forum. So some things for you to bear in mind as we move into our next presenter, and after that we'll have a discussion. And our next presenter is Dr. Srisala Navaratnam. Dr. Srisala Navaratnam is a highly respected international healthcare leader, a medical oncologist and a cancer researcher with over 30 years of service at Cancer Care Manitoba and the University of Manitoba. She recently completed her 11-year tenure as President and CEO of Cancer Care Manitoba in April of 2025. She completed her term as Chair of the Canadian Association of Provincial Care Agencies and mid-September last year, and is undertaking a year of sabbatical supported by Cancer Care Manitoba to focus on advancing health equity and sustainability locally, nationally, and globally. She is a proud graduate of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Jaffna, and has been collaborating with the University of Jaffna and the health sector all around in Sri Lanka for many years. She joins us to provide an overview of the work that is being undertaken in the realm of governance. Dr. Srisala Navaratnam, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind introductions. Vanakkam, ellorukkum vanakkam, puthandu vaalthukal. Honorable Mayor of Toronto, respected members of City Council and colleagues from civil society and friends. And I really value this opportunity, Councillor Neethan Shan. Thank you for being here as we discuss the Toronto-Jaffna partnership. I'm representing the University of Jaffna, and our Dean, Dr. Surendra Kumaran, is in the audience. Because of in-person meeting, I took the responsibility of representing. And also I'm representing the Jaffna Medical Overseas Alumni of Canada, which is a Tamil Physician Association, as a strategic advisor. So I'm representing many people and lots of work in my presentation. So, when you hear this presentation, you will take this as, it's a presentation of technicality or maybe an engineering presentation. But why we are involved, why the University of Jaffna and the health sector is involved, why the physicians of Toronto, Tamil physicians here is involved, because it is a very critical public health issue. So, so that's what we wanted to kind of have the conversation. Next slide, please. So what I'm going to do is it'll be a very brief presentation, and I'm going to talk about Healthy City Project, which is a project that is, I would call it sponsored, not Dr. Surendra Kumaran could speak more during the conversation, but it is a Healthy City Project, so I'll briefly go over that. But main thing that I wanted to focus on what is needed to this vulnerable population with regards to advancing public health so that we could prevent the diseases. So that's the focus that I'm going to have. Next slide, please. So if you talk about this healthy city, in November of 2019, the mayor of Jaffna convened a meeting with WHO, which is a World Health Organization, country representative, and a multi-sectorial sector stakeholders to develop Jaffna as a healthy city. There are other cities in the Southeast Asia, and we don't want to go into that, but that's the concept. So this health city is supported by the WHO, and efforts were made to raise the awareness among stakeholders and to have that meeting. And at that meeting, that symposium on non-communicable disease, because the Health City also comes with disease-free, and school-based awareness program and workshops for media personnel. So those are some of the activities that was taken. Next slide, please. And as I said before, this Healthy City project is with WHO, World Health Organization, University of Jaffna, under the Dr. Surendra Kumaran leadership. There's lots of effort went into it, and the Provincial Health Organization, the Northern Province organizations, and of course the city, the Jaffna city. That's what we are bringing this request here for this partnership. Next slide, please. And then I wanted to very briefly go through what have been done and to focus on what's the future. And so there is lots of activities in schools and controlling plastics and, physical activities or healthy living. Lots of those things have been done. I'm not going to go on to each of them because there's already a publication is available. Next slide, please. And, again, I talked about healthy living. Next one. These are all the efforts that was done. And this is what very recently, 2024, that was awarded. This is the University of Jaffna Faculty of Medicine folks, along with the current dean, Dr. Surendra Kumaran there. They are recognized for its meaningful contribution to this urban health promotion and community engagement. And in the middle is the governor of Jaffna, or the Northern Provinces there. So this is kind of the work that has been done and recognized by the WHO. Next slide, please. And there's also a publication, and we could share that with you. And this been done. And from now, Jaffna Faculty of Medicine, along with City of Jaffna, to ask what's moving forward. The next slide, please. So this is where we all got involved. So we are presenting 6 proposals. And as we said, the University of Jaffna worked with the municipal council. And I'm very proud to say the Canadian Association, Overseas Alumni Association, the Physicians Association. We also have volunteers from Canada, from Toronto, university students, a very strong volunteer leadership, and they have helped working with these projects. So I'm not going to go into the detail. As I said, I'm going to identify, because these are practically an engineering type of projects, but they have a significant impact of the health of that community. Next slide, please. The first one is drainage. But before I go into this, I wanted to confirm all this presentation that I'm going to make very briefly has gone through the presentation to the City Council, has gone through the discussion with the governor. So everyone in the province, in the City of Jaffna, has endorsed this to come to you. Next slide, please. And detailed project is available, except on the drainage system, which I will talk about. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but what it is, we really need a proper drainage system in City of Jaffna. And we still talk about around our hospital, the Jaffna teaching hospitals. And I'm sure most of you would have witnessed the drainage is an open drainage. It's an open drainage. And we talk about chikungunya and all those diseases, communicable diseases. It's growing around the hospital. That's the state. I studied there 40 years ago, or before 40 years ago, and it looks the same. So the drainage, it costs a lot, but that is a very, very important one. Next slide, please. And this is kind of talked about all that, and total length, and all the details are there. But I'm not going to, this is a high level discussion, so that's what I'm not going to go through it. But it will, rough estimate is $1,200 million. And World Bank has come and assessed and put a plan through the consultants, and they need to come back again. But these are some of the things we need to discuss. How do we advocate for that? Next slide, please. Next one is another unfortunate situation, garbage compactors. The existing system is only 3 is available, so all the other ones is open. It goes on a tractor. It goes and the people sit on it. And then they go, sometimes they don't even wear gloves. So where is this system? So garbage compactors is really critical, which is a closed system. Unfortunately, city doesn't have that, only 3. Next slide, please, which again talks about the request is these compactors, and estimated cost was 6 compactors is 190 million. So this is another kind of health hazard. You can't even imagine it's happening. The next one. Next slide, please. Firefighting vehicles. The Canadian government, in fact, gave the previous one. So it is listed again as an essential one. Next slide, please. This is another one. I don't want to go into what it is current system, but it is contaminating the drinking water. Just remember that. That's what the current system is. So that is our public health, and that is our status right now. So this is drainage, and then sewage treatment plant is very critical. Next slide, please. And again, this talks about the detail. As I said earlier, the engineers with the city, university under the leadership of Dr. Surendra Kumar, and I think Dr. Raviraj may be here as well. He's our previous dean. And they all worked hard with the city and created a full proposal. It's all available for submission. Next one, please. Next slide, please. And the other one is incinerator. Again, full plan is placed. Next one. Next slide, please. I'm being very mindful of the time because we are past 15 after 4. And a compost plant, it's all on the solid waste. Next one, please. I mean, now people put fire, people burn the plastics and all that. So in conclusion, I have listed 6 proposals, from drainage to sewage plants to compactors and incinerators and a fabricator. So 6 ones. The proposed projects is the key environment and public health issue, and significant environment investment is required, and that can only come with collaboration. So the question is very simple: how the city of Toronto can actively engage through this partnership, make a better life for these vulnerable people. It could be a technical guidance, but more important one is capacity building. If you think about it, that as physician organizations here, we are providing volunteers to the university to work on these projects. So capacity building is very critical, and the advocacy, of course, and strategic support. So this is what we are requesting the City of Toronto through these partners to make it happen. And even the World Bank has to come. We need to advocate for that. They need to come and do this. So thank you. And as I said, I'm sure Dr. Surendra Kumaran and Dr. Raviraj is here. And I also saw a couple of my colleagues from here, from Ontario is here, and from the JMFOA. And so we could all provide a response to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for speeding through your presentation, but I wish I heard more. Wonderful presentation, and I think you helped me by nailing down the key points, and I'll repeat some of the concerns where work is being done or is required would be drainage, and then she said diseases are percolating in the drainage system, especially around the hospital network, and that is something for us to bear in mind. Procurement of garbage compacted trucks, procurement of firefighting vehicles, and the sewage treatment plan, and the potential impact of not having that would be that drinking water will get affected down the road. And then, of course, you also talked about establishing an incinerator for better cleanup of garbage, if you will, and then establishing a compost plant again to be sustainable and to sort of align with how the rest of the countries work. And these are opportunities where the Toronto folks can work with the Toronto Municipal Council and then help the Jaffna folks. With that, our three wonderful presentations come to an end. Thank you to all three of you for your presentations. I am now going to, and I made my effort to summarize each presentation as we went by. So I'm now going to say, we're going to open up the floor, but before I do that, Neethan, can I have you say a few words?
Yeah, definitely. Before we let the presenters wrap up, I just want to thank the presenters. I'll start with Dr. Srinaratnam. Thank you for all the work you've done. You've done basically what a government should be doing for a city, for convening people, planning, and taking it through different approval processes and putting a plan together. And as physicians and medical professionals who know that how public health is an upstream intervention that needs to be done so that we can actually have a healthy city. So thank you for all the work and thank you for putting those proposals together. And I think, like you said, we can play a catalyst role and information technical support. I have, within my own ward, I have, water treatment plant, sewage treatment plant, that run really well and effectively, and it's a good model for people to look at, and then also kind of provide the support for bringing other levels of governments together, as well as international organizations such as World Health Organization can find those proposals strong if there is a bit of a diaspora as well as the municipal support from other places. Thank you, Vidhu, for the presentation as well. Chamber of Commerce, and as you mentioned, we were on the verge of signing an MOU between the City of Toronto and the Chamber to do the economic development work. That did not go through the previous version of the MOU. But we're hoping that from your presentation, the work you've already been doing around economic development, there's some way to do it. And then I also want to thank Professor Sarveswara for his insight. As a former school board chair of Toronto District School, the largest school board chair, some of the challenges are the same, but we probably will have find ways to do a localized solution around literacy, reading, writing, early school leaving, differentiated school sizes, including some schools with lower enrollment potential to be closed, and some schools with bursting numbers in classrooms and the kind of outcome. And just to clarify, his statistics were Northern Province and not specific to Jaffna, where Jaffna falls, but that includes a lot of the other parts of the Northern Province as well, particularly heavily impacted areas around Vanni as well. So I'll thank all the speakers for your work and your support. The speakers are here just to provide a platform. They're not. We will engage with them in a longer session for Q&A and stuff. But what we want to shift to is your ideas and suggestions. No, not necessarily a back and forth interaction, because we have about half an hour or less to hear from you. So I would say, we'll give you a couple of minutes each to say a few things that might be good for us to consider. Thank you. I'll pass it back to Rahul.
Thank you, Neethan. Yes, just to reiterate what Neethan just closed off with, thank you to the speakers. Those are case studies that we wanted to present in terms of the work that is being done, the needs assessment that is being done. But this open forum discussion is about what do you know to be the need? What do you think the actions ought to be, and if at all possible, where do you see strength within yourself or within the organization that you represent or that you're part of that can provide that support? This is all about Jaffna Toronto partnership. This is not a debate. This is an open forum where we're going to brainstorm some ideas. These ideas are being noted down by Neethan's team, particularly Abhina and Komal, who are taking notes. And shortly, we'll also have the mayor join in and have her words shared with you as well. So I'm going to open up the floor. If you have a question, put your hands up. And I'm going to say about 1.5 to 2 minutes max for your statements. You can also share your comments and suggestions in the chat as well. And I'm now going to hold the gavel, and I will feel free to be ruthless in saying, I'm going to cut you off. Just in the interest of time, not to be rude. Yeah.
Raghavan, sorry. Yeah. I think the mayor's schedule has shifted a little bit because obviously there's a snowstorm going on here, as many of you know. So it would be good to have the mayor bring her remarks at this time. So I'll pass it back to you to maybe introduce her to. She has to leave earlier. Thank you. Appreciate the shifting in the schedule. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you all who are holding on to your thoughts to share. Just bear with us. The mayor does not need a whole lot of introduction. She's a rather boisterous voiced activist when it comes to supporting community, and she's here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mayor Olivia Chow to say a few words.
Just wondering, Abhina or Komal, do you have any updates? I thought Komal had said that she would be able to go at this point. While that's happening, Komal, just feel free to come in and say. I just want to say the three pillars are education, employment, and governance. And I think we're trying to include the healthy city, not necessarily as something that the city can directly do what all those millions of dollars that is necessary for building, but build governance capacity to kind of actually deliver and show that there's a governance capacity that can be able to be built, so that the international bodies can invest this money with the kind of confidence. So that building capacity is part of it. Within the education one, as you heard from the professor, literacy, reading, and habits of reading and interest. So library services would be incorporated within. So we have 4 pillars that education and library kind of make sense to be together in that work. Having said those things, we are willing to hear from you what else can be done. When we talk about Jaffna, obviously, there is town of Jaffna and then Jaffna district. So our work could be focused mainly on town of Jaffna, but can impact Jaffna district, because I know a lot of people in Jaffna district travel to Jaffna town to do their to get their services and so on. So that doesn't mean other areas would be neglected, but I think if you can build a model around this, I know there is a MOU with Markham and Mullaitivu. There was potential conversation about Vaunia and Brampton, and Europe countries are interested. So I think if you can do focused work in one area and show what can be done, and particularly as the population is getting concentrated in the Jaffna area now because of the economic development. So that's why the focus is not to forget the other areas. We will still be, as a community, we will still be helping all areas. But for the purpose of this partnership, that's why it's confined to the Jaffna district and particularly town of Jaffna. Is the mayor?
Thanks, Neethan. I see the mayor donning a Toronto Maple Leaf hat and sitting in her car.
Unfortunately, due to some changes in schedule, we're going to have to go forward with our discussion.
Okay, awesome. We'll continue with the discussion.
She's about to say something, though.
Oh, so I'm sorry about that.
Are you able to make her co-host so that she can mute?
She is on co-host.
Okay. So just give us a...
You need to unmute me. Hi
Yeah,
there.
there you are.
Hello. Hi, how are you? May I just say a few words, Councillor Shan?
Yes, sure. Yeah, we did call you up, but we weren't able to connect you at that time. So yeah, please go ahead. Yeah,
yeah, sorry. I am en route. I am almost at City Hall. I'm having a press conference dealing with the snow today, which is why you see me dressed very warmly. I'm about to be outside doing a press conference. I just want to say that January, Tamil Heritage Month, it is wonderful to see so many people coming out and being together. And it's phenomenal, the response, the culture, the heritage, the resilience is phenomenal from the Tamil community. Just last night, Councillor Shan and I were at the Tamil Bar Association, where their lawyers, judges, justice, and they were all their leaders were all together celebrating. So it's phenomenal in terms of the accomplishment. Every time that I join an event, thinking about Thai Pongal, the gratitude, the appreciation to celebrate together, coming together in families. It's a sense of renewal with hope, and that is what we want to accomplish right here in the city, and making life more affordable and caring and safe for everyone. Just on a side note, that Councillor Shan and I and others will be concluding the budget. And one of the top things that I hear from Tamil families, they work hard, and it's important to keep life affordable. And that is our top priority, which is why the budget is only like 2.2% tax increase. People think it's, how do you do it? And we're doing it. We are saving lots of money for families, $1,200 by having food for kids and TDC fares not going up. All of those things are important as we come together and join together to celebrate a beautiful city. Councillor Shan, thank you for your hard work through the years, celebrating the community, but having us focus squarely on the importance of maintaining heritage and culture. And it's important that I just want to reminisce one thing, that in 2009, I remember I was on Parliament Hill. It's not snowing like that today, but it's warm. But I remember Jack Layton and I coming out and greeting the 30 or 50,000 folks that are on Parliament Hill, talking about the importance of ceasefire and remembering the genocide. So anyway, big hearts to all of you. And do know that even though it's snowing out there, it's cold out there, but it's warm inside our hearts. And that we have 1,300 staff right now plowing your street. And Scarborough is hard hit, but we are out there cleaning the roads as much as we can. We are 24/7. So thank you so much for allowing me to jump in as I get over to my press conference. Councillor Shan, back to you.
I'll take over, Neethan. Thank you, Mayor, for those words, and all the very best with your press conference. I know you've got multiple things on the go. All the best. Thank you for joining us today. We'll certainly have another. We're going to have multiple meetings where we're going to be talking about the Jaffna-Toronto partnership, and Mayor will be able to provide her vision and updates there as well. Thank you, Mayor. With that, Neethan, do you have anything else to add? If not, I'm going to jump into.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for joining. And as thanks to all the city staff who are working hard during this time. And we have the luxury of being able to stay at home and do this, but there are staff who are working out in the cold to make sure that that we are able to get out safely soon. So thank you, Mayor. So Raghavan, we can shift to the discussion now. I think we want to hear from people. உங்களோட கருத்துக்கள் என்ன மாதிரியான விஷயங்கள் செய்யலாம்? இப்போ இதில் சில பேர் சட்லையும் போட்டிருக்கீங்க. நீங்க அன்மியூட் பண்ணி உங்களோட இதெல்லாம் கதைக்கலாம். நீங்க உங்களோட ஹேண்டை ரைஸ் பண்ற பட்டன் இருக்குன்னு தெரியுமெண்டா அதுங்க, அல்லது நீங்க உங்களோட பேரை சாட்ல போட்டீங்கன்னாலும் நாங்கள் உங்களோட பேரை கால் பண்ணி இதெல்லாம் ஹேண்ட் ரைஸ் பண்ற பட்டன் யூஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும். And while we do that, Raghavan, I want to also acknowledge Keerthana Rang, who's here, who's the chair of the Tamil Community Center. I see her here as well. And Keerthana was with us when we went to Jaffna, where she was working formally at the mayor's office and Mayor Tory's office, and was with us throughout the trip and was actually instrumental in organizing all the logistics to make that very stressful one day go very smoothly, and has a lot of involvement in this file. And after coming back, she was also very instrumental in making sure that the follow-up happened throughout that year. So I want to just acknowledge Keerthana, who's now heading the board at Tamil Community Center. Thank you, Keerthana.
Yes, I've known Keerthana since she was 16. All good. Thank you. Thank you for that plug-in for Keerthana as well. And ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right in. Tamililayum pesalam, Aangilathilum pesalam, but put your hands up. I will go with, I see people putting your hands up as you go. Again, keep it to about a minute and a half or two max, but I see Dr. Srisula Navaratnam's hand, which has been there for a while. So thank you for your patience, Doctor. Please go ahead.
You know, as a speaker, I don't want to speak first unless if there is somebody else has their hand. So that's what I was waiting. But I really wanted to acknowledge the work of University of Jaffna Faculty of Medicine. There's been lots of work went into putting all these proposals to the final dollar. And I have already said that. So it is a well-formed project and all that. So we wanted to know from Neethan, Councillor Neethan, what's the next step? Is there anything that we formally submit to you or to the mayor for this as part of this partnership? So I think that's what lots of work went into to prepare for this meeting. So I wanted to hear from the audience what they think about it, how they're going to support, but equally important or more important to hear from Councillor Neethan Shan.
Great, thank you. I'll say it briefly at this time, and then because I was going to summarize at the end as well, Dr. Navaratnam. I think the very first step is this is a process where the diaspora needs to come together to push for a meaningful reinstatement of this partnership, right? As you see, this is not clearly a priority in general, but for our community to come together and say this is a priority that needs to be addressed at all levels of government, including the municipal level. So that's part of the work that we want to do. That's what part of this session is. So what you can do is in addition to the presentation, make a request to meet with the leadership at the city. I'll try to see if I can facilitate that sooner. What we are hoping to do is to have almost a full day session in March, where we can actually break down what the structure would be of how this engagement work would be done. Because what you're doing has traveled independent of Toronto-Jaffna partnership, and it will have to continue to travel independent as we find ways to support that, because I don't want you to, having had the challenge of bureaucracy and levels of government moving slowly, and this being an election year, I don't want your projects and stuff like that to be stalled in this. But what I can do is make March the kind of the breakaway point to go into action after we've gotten some more conversations with the city.
Because these projects, I'm sure everyone knows, very high cost, is not going to move through the government funding at this point in time. So we need funding like World Bank and all that. So for that, it's a strong advocacy is required, especially if it is a city of Toronto. Understand, if an experts also say how poor the conditions are, and prioritize at a very different rather than Dr. Surendra Kumarans and the mayor all keep on talking about it. So that's the main thing we're looking for from the people of Toronto, the Tamil people from Toronto, as well as from the city. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. And I think, playing a leadership role in advocating for this is something that we should be able to do as a city. But, I can't speak on behalf of the city. I'm one of the 25 councillors, but that's my role in this, to kind of make sure that the city does its share.
Thank you, Dr. Srisala Navartnam and Neethan. And I see Rukshan Para. Keep your questions or comments to about a minute and a half or two max, so we can record them, and keep them related to the Jaffna Toronto partnership and what needs are there in your assessment in Jaffna, and what actions are needed, and if at all, how you can help. Rukshan.
Sure. First of all, due to a medical emergency, I'm not able to come on the video. My sincere apologies for that.
No worries.
I didn't want to miss this important session that Neethan has. In fact, Neethan has been the forefront in a number of initiatives that has been done between the communities and everything. So thank you, Neethan, for doing this. And this is an important session that I wanted to be part of it. First of all, I'm going to be talking about the education side of things. The reason is I have visited Sri Lanka a number of times already and haven't had a chance to meet Mr. Service. I apologize if I butcher his name, Mr. Sarvesara, during my visit. But post-war, there's a number of initiatives that has been taking place, and via my family, and we are trying to pick up that the work that my mom and my dad has started. So because they were in their retirement ages or they're old, so we're picking up. So I ended up visiting the number of places in North and East just to look at from an education industry or education perspective. Through local context, there's number of identified or capable students who are, we have identified number of capable students who are unable to afford access to the education and so on and so forth. So in the visits that I had in the recent months, there was a survey that I personally did it, and I apologize if I offend anybody, but this is a personal survey that I have done within the north, especially the north side of Sri Lanka. There's a lot of focus that has been. This is part of the reason that literacy issue is in Sri Lanka is because of the tiered system. That's my personal view. You talk to the locals, you talk to the teachers. I met nearly about like 300, 400 teachers, and most the surveys are based on about 1,000 local, either from villagers or to the city side of as well. From my personal observation, and one of the most challenging is, like I said, is the tiered education system that they have, which unintentionally or excludes many children away from the literacy side of things. And then there's a lot of, we always say Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. I don't want it to sound like I'm blaming on anyone and everything, but it's as part of the reason that I personally found is because of the support that the teachers also are not receiving from the from the local government or the government itself from to take care of or to advance the literacy side of things as well. From my like I said, I've been trying to do this through an organization called YPEM. YPEM is the one that has been doing a lot of literacy initiative within Markham or York region, north of Scarborough, and some part of Durham region as well. This work is continuing to go on. We have deployed a couple of individuals in North to identify and how we can support from a literacy, like a reading and writing perspective. I don't have any questions or anything, but one thing that I wanted to say to the Councillor Shan is, if there's any work, anything that you wanted to have discussion, or anything that you wanted to, anything that I can or the organization can support, we're happy to support it, because we do have some locals in the ground working on it, as well as there's individuals who are working from here as well, connecting with a number of talented kids. Not only talented kids, there are talented kids in number of places, but they're not able to, because of the cost, because of the lack of resources, they're not able to. So we're trying to find resources and accommodate resources for those individuals. So thanks, Raghavan. Thanks, Neethan, for once again doing this.
Thank you, Rikshan. Thank you for the offer. I'm sure notes are being taken. Unless somebody wants to provide a comment back, I'm going to move on to the next question. Aaron, again, just to reiterate, about a minute and a half max, and keep it totally in line with the Toronto-Jaffna partnership and what actions are needed, what the needs are, what actions are needed, and how you can help.
Thank you, Raghavan, for hosting this wonderful event. And you have done numerous events like these, and I'm always in awe of your command of English and Tamil and how you gracefully does this. As a broadcaster, you have done a lot of great work for the community, and I commend you to continue these great work. Thank you so much. And on note, Mr. Shan, I have known him since he was 20. He is a very capable guy. He's a friend of mine for a very, very long time. And whatever he does, he comes out with some of the greatest ideas, which is, Tamil Heritage Month. He came out with it in 2009 after the Tamil genocide. And
and in the interest of time, can you get to?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Can we get to the point? Yeah.
Yes, I just want to congratulate him on the 17th year of successful completion of the Tamil Heritage Month celebration, and he has become a huge initiative. Ethan had provided an opportunity for us to present our vision in 2018. So we had returned. So I personally had returned to Sri Lanka after 21 years. In year 2016, at the invite of then Chief Minister Honorable C.V. Vigneswaran, and so I returned back to back, and we set up what we called an innovation ecosystem North Sri Lanka to empower the region to become a self-sustainable economic nation. I would say it's a nation-building project. So that's what we did, and we built the groundwork. So I had to travel back to back, and after that I couldn't travel. But the work has been done through collaborations with individuals from around the world, and we are proud to say that we invested heavily on the, I would say, setting up incubators and stuff like that. And what we found out was we actually went and invested a lot of money, right, on the wrong things, which is the incubator, instead of the programs. We wanted a space to operate out of, and we invested about $50,000 of our personal funds. And then that was a bad idea. But when we ran the incubator, so we also did a Coimbatore-Jaffna partnership where we brought in 23 instructors on specific machineries, and we trained 400 vocational graduates. And we also did incubators where we empowered people to come up with, new ideas, right? To build businesses that are socially constructive. So we didn't want people to do just business. We wanted us to think about the environment, the social impact and everything, because it's a post-war society that was healing at the time. So through those lessons, due to unforeseen circumstances, due to COVID, we scaled back our operation. But from this year, we are scaling back up in a large way, large scale. So one of the key things I want to discuss here is, just update on our project, what we are undertaking as a priority. We are building projects that's going to stop the brain drain from Jaffna. So we are building IIT-backed university town in Jaffna in Germany at a cost of about $100 million. It's a huge project. It's going to take about 2 years to complete. We are using prefab technologies to fast track some of the stuff, and we are going to have vertical farming integrated. We're going to have security integrated, and flying taxis, and a lot of technology, right? Integration, almost like sidewalk labs, which I think Itna Rang was part of. So she's familiar with these things. So it's going to be a smart city. So it's going to be done in about 450 acres. And we're also doing MRO, which is maintenance, repair and overhaul of drones and airplanes in Paladi Airport at the former site of KKS cement plant. And we're going to build cold storages. We're going to build grain storages so that our vendors can, compete directly with the South. And while they can market their goods to Southern India, which is now booming, right?
Wonderful update. I'm just going to give you 10 more seconds. I've got a lot of people waiting to talk. Yeah, thanks. Go on. You finish your update, but
the last one is we are setting up a pharmaceutical company in Parandan Chemical Factory region. They are still starting their project where they are going to have a small plant, right, to produce chlorine for local usage and not international market, mostly local usage. And we are going to have about 150 acres where we are going to develop into a fully functioning pharmaceutical company to produce life-saving drugs and tests to supply to the world. Thank you so much, guys.
Quickly, who is this we? Like you are addressing we? Can you tell the organization?
Dr. Sri Navaratnam, we're going to move on just because of interest of time. I do think that other than the panelists, whoever speaks from the audience, there's not necessarily verified information or anything that we are presenting here. Those are opinions or suggestions or updates from different people who might have joined to present. So we don't want to get into a discussion of those as well. And I do think that people who are listening should know that our formal content that was presented were by presentation from the 3 panelists, and all the others are people joining in to share their updates or suggestions and so on.
Yeah. And thank you, Aaron, for your wonderful ideas and suggestions there. I'll move on to the next person, Rajendra Surendra Kumaran.
I think this is Professor Surendra Kumaran.
Yeah, I'm glad he's speaking. Thank you, Surendra. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for arranging this. And I'm from Sri Lanka. That we have. I already Dr. Sri Navaratnam presented, but I want to add more. That's about this WHO Healthy City project, particularly the Southeast Asian region WHO office. They have a well-established this Healthy City recognition project. So from Sri Lanka, really that previous mayor, Jaffna Mayor, city mayor in 2019 showed the interest, and then WHO recognized, and now it's good to see we have submitted all the applications and we get support to get the technical support from that laboratory developed by the WHO at Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. And then now we are getting that with this support of Honorable Neethan Shan and the city of Toronto and already have. So we want that some of the projects Dr. Navaratnam presented to be implemented that as a kind of improve the city. At the same time, the city needs a lot of capacity building, particularly even this governance to implementation process, monitoring, evaluation, and then human resource development, skills development, all other sectors. So it's good to get the city of Toronto and also the community working at large, and also then we try to connect with the University of Toronto. Then it has a city of the schools of city. In 2020 for January, I tried to connect with this one of the founder of this. So then it's easy for us to exchange the skillful training and then monitoring, evaluation, and developing some kind of a laboratory to see how things are working and what things are not working. And because there are a lot of initiatives and supports that have been done for last couple of years, but things need to be monitored and then regular feedback and things. So I highly expect more support, particularly to this support some of the projects. Even we had to go for a larger funders, so then need some initial feasibility and opportunity feasibility studies and plans that may be helpful to mobilize large funding coming from World Bank or Asian any other donor agency, including Government of Canada. So second thing is that our staff skill development, maybe develop some kind of identify key areas and then create a group from Toronto coming and working with our team here in Jaffna. It may be the very helpful initiative to take it up further. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for arranging this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Surendra Kumaran, for joining us as well. I know this is probably very late.
Midnight, yeah.
Late night in your schedule.
Early morning, 3:20.
3:20. Thank you. Appreciate that.
We totally appreciate you taking the time, Dr. Surendra Kumar. Yeah, that's very much appreciated. It adds value to everybody who's joined here that you were able to join us today. Thank you. I'll move on to Yamini Rasaya. You might have to unmute yourself, Yamini.
ஹாய் பெரிய ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட் கேட்க சந்தோஷமா இருக்குது. I have a question and a suggestion. Actually 2 points. ஒன்று வந்து நான் இதில் chatல போட்டிருக்கிறேன். நான் முல்லைத்தீவுல பிறந்து வளர்ந்த ஒரு பெண். அங்கே நான் டீச்சராக இருந்தேன். நான் இங்கே வந்து ஸ்கூல் போர்டில் இருக்கிறேன். அப்போது ஏதோ ஒரு கனெக்ஷன் எனக்கு பள்ளிக்கூடம் சம்மந்தமாக வந்து கொண்டே இருக்கும். இப்போ ஒரு கரண்ட் சிச்சுவேஷன் நான் பார்த்த அளவில் இருக்குது என்னென்னா, யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கு போகிற பிள்ளைகளுக்கு ஆங்கில மொழி வந்து ஒரு சேலஞ்சாக இருக்குது. இதுக்கு பேசிக்காக எங்களுக்கு ஃபைனான்ஸ் பிரச்சனை இருக்கிறதால பிள்ளைகளுக்கு யூனிவர்சிட்டி போக முதல் ஆங்கிலத்தை போய் படிக்கிறதுக்குரிய இதுகள் குறைவாக இருக்குது. நீதன் போல தமிழ் பெரிய பதவியில் இருக்கிறவர்களுக்கு நல்ல டெடிகேட்டட் வாலண்டியர்ஸ் வச்சிருக்கிறீங்க. அந்த அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி ஏதாவது ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் நீங்கள் செய்யலாமா என்றது என்னுடைய ஒரு கேள்வி. யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கு ரெடி ஆகி கொண்டிருக்கிற பிள்ளைகளுக்கு ஒரு ஆங்கில அறிவை புகட்டுற மாதிரி ஒரு ஜூம் கிளாஸ் ரூமோ அல்லது கூகுள் சாட் என்னவோ உண்டு. நீங்கள் அப்படி ஒன்று செய்யலாமான்றது ஒரு கேள்வியாக வைக்கிறேன். அடுத்தது வந்து நானும் ஸ்கூல்ல வேலை செய்கிறபடியா ஈக்கோ கிளப்ல நான் ரன் பண்ணுறேன். நான் ஸ்கூல்ல என்னை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் ஒரு அம்மாவா ஒரு ஆசிரியையா நான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறது வந்து ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக ஒர்க் அவுட் பண்ணுறதுண்டு ஐ பிலீவ் இன் தட். கிளாஸ் ரூமில் எங்களோட ஊர்லையும் we can implement this. டாக்டர் நவரத்னம் கதைச்சிருந்திருக்கிறீங்க. கார்பேஜ் அது வந்து எல்லா இடங்கள்லையும் ஒரு பெரிய சேலஞ்சாக தான் இருக்குது. இதை நாங்கள் ஸ்கூலில் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு என்ன செய்யலாம்? ஒவ்வொரு கிளாஸ் ரூம்லையும் 3 சின்ன கண்டெய்னர் வைக்கிறது பெரிய ஒரு பிரச்சனையாக இருக்காது. யோக் ரீஜனில் 2 வச்சிருக்கணும். ஒன்றில் கார்பேஜ், ஒன்றில் ரீசைக்கிள் மட்டும். ஆனால் எங்களோட ஊரில் ஒரு கம்போஸ்ட் பின்னும், ஒரு கார்பேஜ் பின்னும், ஒரு ரீசைக்கிள் பின்னும் நாங்கள் வச்சு அதை பாடசாலைகளில் நாங்கள் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு நீங்கள்லாம் பெரிய பதவியில் இருக்கிற நீங்கள் இந்த இதில் இணைஞ்சு செயற்படுறீங்கள். நாங்கள் அதுக்கு ஏதாவது ஒரு முயற்சி செய்யலாமா என்றது வந்து என்ற ஒரு ஹம்பிள் ரிக்வெஸ்ட்டாக நான் இதில் வைக்கிறேன். Thank you for the opportunity, and it's a really, really unique and useful project that you are leading. Neethan, thank you.
Thank you. நான் என்ன wrap up பண்ணிக்க நான் சில விஷயங்களை டச் பண்ணணும் அடுத்த கட்ட இதற்கு. I think Suganya has name wrong.
Is Suganya on the call, and do you have a question or a comment to add?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for the panel. I really enjoyed the presentation. And before I get into my suggestion, I really appreciate Yamini's suggestion about starting at school level. I think that's always a positive thing which will grow. But then we had to think about where that's going to go later. Like, we need to have a system. Yes, if we have garbage or recycling or compost, then we had to have a way what we're going to do with them. So that could be a next step to think about. But starting at school is really a great idea. As Neethan knows, we have worked on it in 2017 or 18 about it. The education, I'm from education sector. So we had worked on it in the previous session too. And ETSs are willing to do something like what Yamini suggested, if we want to do a PD for English, for staff, or even for students. But more than that, I'm just looking back to the reading, literacy, numeracy issues. Maybe we could even plan something like we have so many Tamil educators here, and we could even work on a project with creating a plan with like a reading recovery, something that we do here within elementary panels, right? So reading recovery, but not only staying with reading recovery and building strategies, but beyond that, creating that interest. And how do we do that? Because I studied in Sri Lanka too, and I know that our limitation with it, our reading, it's only textbook. So the interest is not going to come from textbook. So we had to think about, from Canadian perspective, getting books that's beyond textbooks and engaging the students into reading by bringing storybooks like different kind of storybooks, not just an Ambali Mama. Maybe that's what I read when I was there in library as an entertaining book, but we had to get into more into that, and then that has to be integrated into assignments, things like that. Those are some strategies I'm just throwing from the point at this point. But we could build into something and build strategies and work with the education sector in Jaffna. An additional one more thing I want to talk about is about that inflation in classroom, and then some schools are closing up and some schools are inflated. I think that's an equity issue. I don't know how we could handle that, but I think it's an equity issue because it's the promotion and we are focusing on some school more than the others. So it's not about bringing resource to, this is my opinion, bringing resources to those inflated schools. We had to find a way, how do we maintain those small schools? How do we build capacity to the small schools so they can sustain, rather than sending all the students to 1 or 2 schools and building a classroom that is 40, which is not really a sustainable system, that we are filtering system, which is not an equitable system. I will leave it at that point. Thank you.
I appreciate those comments, Suganya, and yes, you're right. There are several opportunities where we can help with the Jaffna community through what we have here, and to respond to your question about the inflated school system. I believe the speaker mentioned or referred to socioeconomic conditions, and therefore kids were dropping out of school, and because there weren't enough kids in the schools were being closed, or there could be political reasons as well. Again, I don't want to extrapolate from what I heard, but your point is 100% valid, something to bear in mind as we all ponder how we can help. Let me move on to Dr. Varagunan Mahadevan.
Oh, hi. Thank you for including me, and thanks, Neethan and Raghavan. I have just 2 points to share here. This is a great initiative. I'm actually work with IMHO Canada, International Medical Health Organization Canada. We are on the ground since 2008. This is a Canadian charity. My 2 points are, one thing is we need to remember, I'm so grateful that so many people on this particular day are joining here, because we want to do something to our people on the ground. But I think the need should come from the ground, not on the opposite side. I would love to place an MRI machine in Nelliyadi Hospital, but that is not the need. But the need should come from the ground. So please, we need to remember that. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. During the tsunami time, we were there on the ground, and we had a big donation from a European country, lots of ECG machines in particular, which was thrown into garbage because there was no need for ECG machines. So the need should come from the ground. That is number one. And we are not decision makers sitting in Toronto or Canada. We have to work with the government of Sri Lanka. We have lots of experience because we bring them project, the questions asked. Recently, we were ready to get a CT scan machine to Vavuniya Hospital. There was so much problems there because Sri Lankan government said, you don't need the Vavuniya. Then they charged the duty. So remember, Sri Lankan government is watching every move, which is, Jaffna and Northern Province are still in Sri Lanka. So they are watching who is doing, what is doing, and they will be questioning. So we need to work amicably with the Sri Lankan government, whether we like it or not. Thank you so much.
Appreciate your comments there, Dr. Vara. And we're going to wrap it up with, we're already over time. We meant to wrap it up at 5, but Archana's been patient, so I'm going to go to Archana. Oh, when we have another hand up. Okay, maybe we'll wrap it up with Sangeeta.
We'll just give 1 minute to each of them to wrap it up.
A minute each, Archana and Sangeeta. Go for it.
Okay, so thank you, first of all, for all of you for an informative session. Thank you so much, Neethan and I, for inviting me to learn more about the Toronto-Jaffna Partnership Forum. I strongly feel that it's very significant for our community to grow as a Tamil community. And it's very impactful words in terms of the sustainable and scalable wording. I would definitely, that I will just emphasize those words. But I think we all are creating a communicative speech here regarding many issues, such as educational, such as health issues, such as many things. I think it's a great start. I think it's going to impact us in a very, very good, in a positive way. And but in my perspective, that I really, and I felt strongly that we need to take care of, or perhaps that we have to go based on or touch upon, is that equality, I believe, in terms of education issues. I think it's very important to have equality in terms of those 3 pillars that we touched upon, especially of the education system, to reflect based on the video we just saw previously. I strongly think that creating a tutoring or education system that is more affordable is something that it is very, very, very significant and is very, very important. Obviously for women and men, or especially women, right? And I have, for example, I can definitely touch upon somebody that I have been seeing throughout the social media. I believe his name is Tilakshan. He is a content creator. He is a person who has been doing videography for weddings and all that kind of stuff. He brought the community and society a benefit, because by creating fundraising gala nights and fundraising events, he created a platform of employment for women, such as sewing, right? I strongly felt that sewing, especially for women, who it is more and more easier for them, more and more important for them, because obvious reasons is that is easier for them, and women in terms of women and men equality, it's very, very not a great place where we want to hold or where we want to place them in. So which will help them to create a change in the system of education and make things affordable sometimes. So education is a key and is a powerful system, and education is the key in my perspective. I'm not yet very, very knowledgeable like all of you guys, but I'm growing to be there in a level that I want to be knowledgeable. So thank you.
Thank you, Archana, for those words. I will move on to Sangeeta, and Sangeeta will be our last question, comment.
Vanakkam, thank you so much, Neethan. First of all, உங்களை நிறைய காலம் தெரியும். And what I noticed is that you've been very sincere. தமிழாக்களுக்கு உதவி செய்யணும், நிறைய செய்யணும் என்று அந்த காலத்துல இருந்து காஜோண்டு வந்திருக்கிறீங்க. பட் அது வெறும் வார்த்தை இல்லாம you are doing it practically. அந்த விஷயங்களை செய்து கொண்டு வரீங்க. Especially இப்போ கவுன்சிலரா வந்த அப்புறம் இன்னும் கூட செய்றீங்க. மிகவும் சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. Thank you so much. I'll be very happy to support you in many things that you do. எனக்கு ஒரு விஷயம் இந்த செஷன்ல வந்ததுல இருந்து கேட்டதுல very surprising இருந்ததா, அது லிட்ரஸி ரேட் ஜாஃப்னால குறைவண்டு. நான் எப்பவுமே பெருமையா யோசிச்சிருக்கிறேன், ஸ்ரீலங்கன் தமிழாக்கள் இந்த லிட்ரஸி ரேட் கூட படிப்புக்கு நிறைய முக்கியத்துவம் கொடுக்குற ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி. ஸ்ரீலங்காவிலையும் இருந்திருக்கிறேன், இந்தியாவிலையும் இருந்திருக்கிறேன். இந்தியாவில இருக்க தமிழை ஒழுங்கா எழுதுறதுக்கு அங்க உள்ள மாணவர்கள் சரியா கஷ்டப்படிக்கலாம். அப்ப நான் அப்ப யோசிக்கிறேன், என்னடா இது எங்கட ஊர்ல அப்படி எதுவுமே இல்லையே. அப்ப இதை இப்ப கேட்க உண்மையாவே மிகவும் கவலையா இருக்கு. இப்படியான ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷன் ஜாஃப்னால இருக்குது. அதுக்கான காரணம் என்னன்னு உண்மையாவே எக்ஸாக்ட்லி தெரியல. பட் ஐ திங்க் இட் இஸ் வெரி க்ரூஷியல். ஏன் அங்க அவ்வளவு லிட்ரஸி ரேட் குறைவா இருக்குன்றதுக்கு அதுக்கான அண்டர்லைன் காசஸை கண்டுபிடிக்கணும். இஸ் இட் லேக் ஆஃப் ரிசோர்சஸ், அல்லது வீட்டுல ஐ மீன் ஊர்ல அங்க வந்து எஜுகேஷன் சிஸ்டம் ஃப்ரீயா இருந்தாலும் ஏன் அவையால அந்த லிட்ரஸி அவைக்கு கிடைக்கல என்பது கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதும் அதுக்கான சப்போர்ட்டை நாங்க வழங்குறதும் மிகவும் முக்கியம் என்று நினைக்கிறேன். இதுதான் முக்கியமா சொல்ல விரும்பினார். பட் தேங்க்யூ so much for this initiative.
Thank you, Sangeeta, for those thoughtful words. I will now venture to close off this event with Neethan having a quick wrap-up comments, a few comments.
I'll try my best to be quick because I think there are a number of important concerns that were raised as well.
Yeah.
So first, I'll start with Dr. Varaguran's concern. I think it's critical, Dr. Varaguran, your first point about it being grounded from what people are saying and needing from there. And that's why I think Dr. Shree's presentation had said that this came from Jaffna academics, Jaffna Hospital, and others working together. So, and all of our work has to be grounded from understanding what the needs there is. But what we can actually do is to help to identify that need by supporting needs assessments, conversations, and other things that can happen and that can center the voices from our homeland, particularly in this case from Jaffna. So there might be need for us to create and support platforms and ways, and that's why we actually even had presentations, and also Dr. Surendra Kumaran joined past midnight from there. So the critical part is that, definitely. And in terms of working with the government, what I think, if you're working with municipalities of Jaffna, if you're working with Northern Province or provincial government, if it gets established, it is working within the government structures. One of the things that Toronto-Jaffna Partnership will do is to kind of make sure that we build capacity for people who are doing the work there. So, for example, if Jaffna University needs support, if a Chamber of Commerce in Jaffna needs support, that can go through channels where it is actually going to be implemented rather than getting stuck. As you know, without the government approval, nothing can happen there, and it's important to have that approval. But having said that, we also need to advocate locally as well for things that the government should be doing for a local population. We cannot replace what a government should be doing in a particular province by external diaspora support alone, because this support is not sustainable and it's not scalable to the extent that we need. Like if you're looking at sewage and drainage and all of those things are predominantly a government funded thing in most countries. So in the short term, in the immediate need, we might be advocating to help bring international players to do it, but those international players will also still be investing most likely through working with the government. So there's no doubt on those two principles when we move into this particular work as well. And that leads to questions Sumiaka also posed about, do we know that this is needed there, or do we know? And that's why we did. I was very clear when we had conversations with Dr. Sri Navaratnam. That's part of our priority, and Dr. Sri Navaratnam clearly articulated that they are doing that too. So we will be doing more to talk to people there and try to figure out what that looks like. In the past version, the same thing happened with Jaffna. In fact, Northern Provincial Government and Chief Minister, who actually helped to facilitate those conversations and bring us what they need, and we reflected that on the MOU. And Joby's question on disability, I think all of our work would have an equity lens that looks at various forms of equity deserving communities. There's a lot of conversation about education. What I will do is to make sure, like I think Raghavan wants to connect with Yaminiaka, and there was Tom Thiru from Telecast who wanted to connect as well. So what we'll do when we do in person next time, we would make sure that there is the connectivity that's happening. And we have a network that I helped to form for Ontario Tamil Educators Network. It has close to 100 teachers who teach here in public school system, including Suganya, who spoke as well, and Suganya is leading the York region Tamil teachers as well. So if there's a way for us to bring the capacity of our educators here, that we could possibly be building the education pillar a little bit more, along with Rukshan's work that Rukshan had talked about as well. And Rukshan has a ability to bring some collaborations and players together as well. So, and then going back to the question about what's next for the project that Dr. Navaratnam mentioned, Dr. Sri mentioned, is that that's a massive project, and it's something that we all need to work together as well. And so I think it's important to build that advocacy work that I can do. So I'll follow up and see what can be done immediately, but we will continue to see if there is a possibility for us from this collaboration to send something strong to World Health Organization as a need that we are able to support and maybe give technical support in that process. I think and Sangeeta and Archana about education. I think I want to clarify something, Sangeeta, and I think it might have been misunderstood a little bit, is that when he said we were at the bottom, he said he was reflecting about Northern Province, and he said Jaffna is major part of the Northern Province statistics. So the statistics may be very true for Jaffna too, but I don't know. But he did mention that the bottom out of all the provinces, Northern Province has been the bottom, which means which includes much more than the area just Jaffna. So I don't want to misconstrue what it is, but literacy and early leaving and classroom sizes have been identified as a challenge for them. So finally, I think what is next? This is not a done deal for us. We need to get the City Hall to agree to formulate a next version of the Toronto-Jaffna partnership and support that, because the past version has expired and it was there. So this is something that we need to initiate. But we also want to do this civil society partnership so that we actually, through civil society, be able to lead this, despite the fact governments might change. So my call at the end is that I'm going to be reaching out to many of the organizations and key stakeholders here. We will put together a core group of people who are willing to put either time or money into doing things for the community, right? Back in Jaffna. So we'll brainstorm and get few people together and maybe develop a pilot for over 5 years and have benchmarks and measurements so that we don't just do it for the sake of doing, that we can actually see what the progress is and track it as a community. And so that is the kind of work that we would like to do, and I'll do that we'll bring the community together in March to develop that further. சுருக்கமாக இந்த எல்லாத்தையும் தமிழ்ல திருப்பி சொல்ல இயலாது, டைம் போயிடும். ஆனா சுருக்கமாக அடுத்த நடவடிக்கையா வந்து ஒரு முழு நாள் சந்திப்பு வந்து மார்ச்ல செய்வோம். அந்த சந்திப்புல வந்து இதுல ஆர்வம் இருக்கக்கூடியவர்கள் ஒன்றா கொண்டு வந்து ஒரு அடுத்த கட்ட நடவடிக்கையா என்ன செய்யலாம் என்றும் ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட ஒரு எண்ணிக்கையான அமைப்புகளோ அல்லது ஆர்வலர்களோ சேர்ந்து இதை கொண்டு போறதுக்கான தங்களோட ஓன் கமிட்மெண்ட், அதாவது அரசாங்கங்கள் செய்தோ இல்லையோ செய்ய வேணும். நாங்க ஒரு ஸ்ட்ராங்கான ஒரு இடத்துல ஃபவுண்டேஷனா இருந்தோம்னு சொன்னா அந்த அரசாங்கங்களை செய்ய வைக்கலாம். அப்ப அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரியான ஒரு முறை இப்ப நாங்க தமிழ் கம்யூனிட்டி சென்டர் மாடல் மாதிரி நாங்க முதல்ல நாங்க எல்லாம் ஒன்றா வந்தபடியா அரசாங்கங்களை செய்யக்கூடிய மாதிரி அந்த ஒரு கட்டமைப்புல வந்து மற்ற பகுதிகளை பற்றி காய்ச்சிருந்து நீங்க இப்போ குறிப்பா முல்லைத்தீவு போன்ற இடங்கள், வன்னி மாவட்டம் அதில் வரைக்க இதுல வர்ற விஷயங்களை வந்து நாங்க அடுத்த கட்டங்களா மட்டக்களப்பு கிழக்கு மாகாணத்துக்கும் சில தேவைகள் பல தேவைகள் இருக்கின்றது. அப்ப அதெல்லாம் செய்யறதுக்கும் நாங்க அடுத்த கட்ட நடவடிக்கைகளா போகலாம். அப்ப இந்த முதல் தொடங்கின இந்த விஷயத்த ஒழுங்கா செய்வதற்காண்டித்தான் முயற்சி எடுக்கிறோம். அதோட நான் முடிக்கிறேன். எல்லாருக்கும் நன்றி. இந்த காலநிலையிலே உங்களோட கலந்து கொண்டு முழு நேரமா இவ்வளவு நேரம் 2 மணி நேரத்துக்கு மேல நிக்கிறீங்க பலர். அதுக்கு நன்றி கூறிக்கொண்டு, ராகவன் உங்களுக்கும் இதை ஒழுங்கிணைத்தது நன்றி கூறிக்கொண்டு, அபினா இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி திட்டத்தை முழுமையா எடுத்து செய்த அபினாவுக்கும் அபினா நிமல்ராஜுக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றிகளை கூறிக்கொண்டு விடைபெறுகிறேன். ராகவன் உங்கள்கிட்ட மீண்டும்.
Thank you, Neethan. It's been a fabulous forum. Wonderful suggestions from a lot of people. நிறைய பேர் தங்களால் எப்படி உதவி செய்யலும் என்று சொல்லியிருக்கணும், தாங்கள் கண்டறிஞ்ச நீட்ஸ் என்னன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கணும், என்ன ஆக்ஷன்ஸ் தேவைன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கணும். And Abhina and Komal have been taking notes. Neethan, your hands are full. You have some work to do down the road and before we meet again in March. And இதில் இந்த silent majority பார்த்து கொண்டு கேட்டுக்கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். I'm sure you have the most influential thoughts that are brewing up in your brains. Please share them with Neethan Shan and the group, because the silent majority always takes a few moments before they talk and then share their thoughts. Those are very important as well. So please share your thoughts. Thank you, everybody. It's been my honor hosting and moderating this panel discussion. Thank you to our presenters. Once again, thank you, Neethan, for the opportunity. Thank you all. Have a great evening. Stay safe.